Shouldn't y'all be filming? Jacob, what are you doing here?
Well, Daniel, we're about to make a documentary of the making of Moss the film.
Yep, I just graduated college.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
How do I know you?
Well, Daniel, you've known me since birth. You are my uncle. I am your nephew. We've known each other a very long time. Worked on Sunset Edge, your first narrative film. You know, Moss was one of the funnest and hardest things I've ever done, and looking forward to going back through all the footage and making a behind the scenes that kind of tells the story of how Moss got created.
So you're kind of like my muse.
In a way, yeah, in a way.
I'm Daniel Peddle, the writer-director of Moss, and I'm here in Winston-Salem in the backyard of my family's home, and we're showing Moss at the 20th Annual River Run Film Festival here in the old hometown. So Moss is really a love letter to Carolina Beach. It's a place I hold dear to my heart because I've been going there my whole life, basically. My family owns a beach cottage there, and I find it a very interesting place. It's like a heady brew of the South meets surf culture, meets history, and it just has this really incredible feeling to it. The Civil War essentially started to be lost by the Confederacy at the tip of this island at Fort Fisher, and you can really feel the history of this place. And over time, ironically, it began to be owned by an African-American man, Robert Freeman, and by his death, he actually owned most of the island. And it has a real array of terrain, from some sandy, milky white dunes that we call Sugarloaf to the swampy areas where there are gators and Venus flytraps growing. And you just get this, in a very little area, this real variety. So we captured all that in Moss, and that was a very important goal of mine going into the film. So in a lot of ways, I feel like Ray, the dad in Moss, he worked with driftwood, this river wash up. He would make his art out of it. I'm kind of the same way, except for I am always looking for people, and I, with my partner, own a casting company in New York, and we discover talent. And Mitchell was a guy that I found hanging out with my nephew Jacob at Cape Fear Community College during the Cucalores Film Festival with our last film together, Sunset Edge.
All right, tell me your name.
Mitchell Slaggert.
And how old are you?
20.
And how tall are you?
6'2".
And what are you doing here in Wilmington?
Going and getting paid to stay on the Dean's List.
And from the moment I met him, I just knew, I had a feeling that I would be working with him, and I didn't know what would happen, and I had no idea that it would happen so fast. But I took a couple of shots of him the day after I discovered him and sent it to my friends in New York at a modeling agency. They signed him right away, and within a couple of weeks he was debuting on the runway in Milan for Calvin Klein, which is a really coveted gig to get, and it just kind of skyrocketed from there.
How are you liking the modeling? It seems a little fast-paced.
It's been a blessing since the start. It's been exponential since the start. I'm blessed and thankful for Dan and everything he's done for me.
It's just funny to me because in the beginning you didn't know how to model, and now you know how to model.
Now I don't know how to model.
Just looking around, huh?
Yeah. Okay. More like in the scene, Mitch, like you were in the scene.
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
All right.
When the script was finished and we had cast the role of Moss and Mary and Blaze, we were still looking for the father, and no one was really sparking me. And then one day I saw on Mitchell's Instagram a picture of who he called his mentor, and this guy just looked so ruggedly handsome, and he basically looked like a movie star in this Instagram shot. And I said to Mitchell, who's this guy? And he's like, oh, that's my buddy, my mentor. He lives in my neighborhood, and he basically taught me how to be a lifeguard. He was one of my instructors, and when he told me, I was like, wow, this guy could be the perfect father.
I'm Mitchell Slaggert, and I played Moss.
And I'm Billy Ray, and I played Ray Stone.
I relate to Moss, where I spent all my time growing up outdoors, always looking for new critters, looking for some sort of life.
I was around my granddad a lot, and he just instilled in me this respect for nature and a knowing that everything's connected. And I tried to mold myself as Ray after that.
Billy showed up on set, sight unseen. I had never seen him before. I only had seen the Instagram picture and talked to him over the phone, and he had no acting experience, and he did not send me an audition, so I had no idea what would happen once we started filming. And it was literally one of those just electric moments in that first conflict scene in the film where you saw Ray give this totally natural, authentic performance that just felt like this guy had been training his whole life for.
The first scene, first day, when we just nailed it when we started fighting in the cabin.
Once that we got it.
Once we did, because like it took a bit of doing that first scene. It was just like
and Daniel and Yuri. Remember they told like where I was polishing the fish. He said, "You know your lines," and I did. I knew my lines. I had my lines memorized. He said, when Mitchell delivers his line, just keep polishing that fish and let it come smooth.
If you just give yourself an activity to do while you're acting,
and when
it's
he
like,
did it, that's when it started
it just
rolling.
clicked. And then it just kind of felt more smooth and natural. And
I think within the next couple takes, we took that whole.
It was like night and day.
Yeah.
Because at first, you probably couldn't have watched it.
It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense to me.
You ain't going nowhere. Go say hi to me.
I bet your grandma's pills in the house. Go get those pills and take them to your grandma. Take them fish with you while you at it. I don't want them. No, it wasn't good at all.
It wasn't good at all.
But
and then,
after those next couple takes, Daniel tweaked it here and got it right where he wanted it, and then we flowed through that whole.
And then from there, it was just smooth sailing.
Take them pills to your grandma. Don't you think she deserves that?
Oh, why? 'Cause I killed her only daughter?
Ever say that again? It's true. You gotta grow up and be a man.
So basically, everyone in the film were first-time actors who had very little or no experience before this movie. And there's a lot of inherent challenges when you're working with a cast with no experience like that. The one person that did have experience was Christine Marzano, who plays Mary in the film, and she actually was in the middle of a big action, big budget film in Bulgaria. She agreed to do Moss and flew in on her 1 week off from the set, so she had to fly immediately back to Bulgaria and continue shooting her action adventure. She just brought a level of experience to the film that really anchored us and kind of elevated the whole experience for both the cast and crew. I noticed with the cast in particular that, you know, suddenly in between takes, they would be off practicing their lines, and until Christine got there, they definitely weren't doing that.
And don't call me man. It makes me feel old.
Oh, sorry, you didn't know by no means.
Older than you.
Not much.
I'm turning 30.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, God, don't call me ma'am. Makes me feel like an old lady.
Oh, please, you ain't know by no means.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
Not much.
I just turned 30.
So she really was a kind of godsend for the film, and I can't imagine having done it without her in that part. So, you know, that was a collaboration that proved valuable on many levels beyond just her performance. So our camera crew, which consisted of essentially 2 people, Yuri, who was the DP, and Francisco, who was the assistant DP and kind of / art director. This is another crazy story. I actually met Francisco first. He was sitting in the barber shop in New York that I go to regularly, in my barber's chair, and my barber said, "Hey, you should talk to this guy. He's also a filmmaker." And I sparked a conversation with him, and it turned out he was from Berlin and was at a really great film school in Europe. And we met up and exchanged work, and I looked at his work, and I was just like, wow, this guy's awesome.
I went to the barber shop to get a new haircut, and I got the most shitty haircut of my life. And that's how I met Daniel, because he was sitting in the corner of the hairdresser, waiting for his haircut. And we started talking about films and life and the universe. So at this point I was still in film school, and I had a sabbatical year. So I had time, 3 weeks, to shoot this film. And I said, yeah, hell yeah. I'm helping Daniel to shoot his movie. I'm doing art direction, and I will help him with artistic stuff, and Yuri will take over the DOP part. And that's how we went to North Carolina.
And he showed me some of Yuri's links, and his reel was some stuff shot in a abandoned graveyard. So of course immediately I loved it, and it turned out that Yuri had never shot a feature film and also never been to the US, but I just kept getting this feeling like Yuri's your guy.
Hey, I'm Yuri Betien, the DOP of Moss. The story how I got to know Daniel is a bit crazy. So the person who firstly connected us was Francisco Gonzalez Andino, the art director of Moss, which I personally know since we were 6 years old. So the first time I talked to Daniel was via Skype video call, in which we firstly got to know each other just a bit and talked about camera equipment and the script and mood stuff and so on. So one of the biggest challenges in this project was the working with light situations, because we worked with very little electric light equipment. But in the end we came up achieving a wonderful realistic atmosphere this way that dives you into the fantastic area of the South.
It was just a really magical experience for me to work with someone like Yuri, and because Francisco was such a good friend of his, the two of them made this, you know, great little team.
Du warst vor meiner Ecke und hast Mudu Mudu im Stingel gesagt, ey. Du hast der Anne Stingel, hast du der Anne Stingel, hast du die Puppe aus der Nase.
And, you know, Yuri's work has already been awarded by a lot of the festivals that the film is screened at, and it's almost always mentioned in the reviews because it's just outstanding. I had a sense of urgency going into this film. You know, when you go into it with that kind of approach, you sometimes get in desperate situations.
What do you like my spec?
The driftwood spoon.
We had no one to do our catering and kind of manage the production, so I knew I had to find someone regionally, and I ended up working with Jane, who had never done a film before, but she had all this experience in production on events and a lot of experience in the restaurant industry. So I thought, well, we'll make it work.
Hi, I'm Jane Murray. I just moved to Carolina Beach about the same time that the film started, so it was a project for me. It kind of integrated me into my new community, and it gave me a bigger project that I had ever intended to sign up for. I had a small car, a Honda Fit, which actually opens up like a big station wagon in the back. I made coffee every morning, gallons of coffee every morning, and muffins, and so just packed up my car like any old mom and fed everybody. It was fun to just make sure everybody was okay. I realized I needed a lot more help than what I could muster up every day, so I recruited my friend Marcia.
I was the gopher. The Daniel was always yelling at me. And I cooked fish over and over, and who knew that you had to do so many scenes to get everything just right. It was so much fun.
So the first day that we were filming at Jeff's house, we had some very interesting scenes, and Mitchell was out on the back porch and he had to take his shirt off. He kept pulling his shirt off. Remember when he was on the back porch and he had to take his shirt off and put that red parka on? She goes, oh my.
I think that was the first time I seen him without a shirt, and I was hoping I didn't make a face.
Look how cute I am.
See, that's what she was
That's
after.
the adorable pose.
And the best part about working in the whole movie was by the time the movie was over, we were all like family.
It was also a gut feeling that led me to the people that we worked with. You know, when I met Shaw, for instance, the art that Shaw was making wasn't exactly how I imagined it. We don't need a whole lot.
Right.
We just need literally
let
a
me
few
just explain.
seconds.
With my process, I have to put a lateral, tape it off, put a lateral line with a teak point, teak colored brow wax, and then I have to put all the spots the sailfish has. It takes me hours and hours. But you don't have that.
No.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and start like putting a big coat of wax on it, and you'll see the big change quick and buff it, and it'll be like boom, and then I'll sand it back off.
How long does that take? I kind of imagined a more naive kind of art, and then when I saw Shaw's art, I saw that it was actually really sophisticated, and it made me rethink this character. I think there are lots of examples in the film where, you know, the people that we worked with inspired the actual narrative, and so everything became kind of woven together.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey Filliman. I'm a carpenter, been doing it for about 40-some years. I got started helping my dad like when I was young. He used to do carpenter work, building our house. I helped in the film with the props and other stuff. Well, it was quite an adventure, really. The whole thing, it was like so much different from what I'm used to. Boring, monotonous work. It's pretty exciting.
What you do? Somebody told me
We
you
came by to
sold-
interview you.
You sold the movie? Are you happy?
We are getting it distributed.
It's going to be everywhere.
I don't know about that.
Well,
it's going to be out there. We want to interview you. We want to ask you a couple questions.
Okay. I hope I can answer them.
My name is Sue Slade Filliman. I moved to Carolina Beach with my family when I was 17. And it was kind of like going to town. I really didn't like it because I was such a country person. I was used to most anything happening. And so I wasn't so surprised at anything about it, but it made me realize how hard it is to make a movie.
yeah.
It's to not play.
There's a lot that goes into it for sure.
Huh?
There's a lot that goes into it for sure.
Yes, it certainly is.
And it's just sort of submitting in a weird way to fate, if you want to call it that, or chance, but just kind of riding it as a surfer might, letting the wave take you where it wants to. And that was sort of the underlying approach to Moss, not just out of design, but to some degree out of necessity. It was a really transformative experience for everyone because we had to work as a tight-knit family. You know, we were a hard-scrabble skeleton crew of just a few people that, you know, were peppered in with assistance that Jacob and Blaine were getting from Cape Fear and UNC Wilmington. You know, we never knew really who we were going to get every day, and somehow there would always be someone there that we could call upon. And it wasn't your typical set, you know. It was true indie filmmaking, and I'm really proud of it now. You know, looking at what we accomplished, it's awesome. Whether people like the film or not, for me as a director, and as an artist, it's just really fulfilling to see how the film has impacted so many lives in such a positive way. That's, you know, just something I can take to, you know, my grave with me.
Instead of shooting like this, which
Mhm.
isn't accurate at all, you take your elbow, use it as a brace, just sits on there. You take this and put it up on your shoulder so your line of sight, look, see where my eye is like right straight down, the line of sight?
It's true, yeah.
My arm is out, see where my elbow is out, not down here, so I'm balanced. Now I'm using it as a balance. You take your eye, watch what I'm doing with my face. I got it right down to my target.
Okay, Dorian, we're shooting, so get us something good.
Yeah, I like that one.
It's right here. Then the B&B bait and taxi. Yeah, I've been digging Civil War relics 40-some years.
Look, wow. Finding a knife like this.
There's one other.
Perfect, right? Yeah, these are lucky dollars right here.
How many are they?
Oh, I need to tell you how many there. Put your name on, put up there, and you have good luck when you go fishing.
Yes, Jamal.
I can see it now.
Even that was cool, how he just did that.
Bring you some driftwood, Daniel. We're home.
The loneliness, the isolation.
Oh, yeah, I'll leave it here till you're ready to pass it.
So you're coming back, right?
Yeah.
You'll burn yourself out.
Do you have sunscreen on?
I do not.
3? Yeah. Copy, copy.
And that's good of you, Dan?
That's good.
Okay.
He's
No, you.
All right.
he's going out
Wait,
there.
Jacob,
He's
you're fine.
claustrophobic. He's all about claustrophobic now. It is.